All right, what we do know is, well, a lot of different things related to yesterday. Let's start Phil's. We'll do a lot on me versus Jack. Afternoon show, talked about it the whole show. It was actually really fun and interesting to listen to it. So if you're waking up with us as you do at this time of the day and don't get to listen later in the show at times, I said later in yesterday's show that I did win in golf. That created a whole cast. I mean, James, the whole afternoon show was about that. Like,
literally.
The whole show. Other than Brandon Graham on with them, the whole show was about me defeating Jack.
Do you think you would have listened to the whole show if you had not won?
Well, let me tell you this, James. I listened to good chunks of it. You ready for this? More than once.
They were a little unhappy.
Very Hammer-esque right there.
I listened to about 1.5 of their show yesterday. Right hand in the air. You two people, right hand in the air, okay? Not lying here. I listened to about 1.5 of their show. That's how much I enjoyed it. So it was fun playing golf, and obviously winning was nice. And you can react to it and react to Jack's reaction to it. Because he said a lot yesterday, and we will get to that shortly. If you've missed some of that audio, but 215-592-9494. He, Spike, and Ike all had a ton to say. So we'll have some fun with that. Let's start Phil. So, John, 2 big positives yesterday and 1 big negative. So the 2 big positives obviously are, number 1, Bryce Harper back in the lineup. That's fantastic. Number 2, Zach Wheeler, like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. Tom Kelly, TK came out after the game. This was a fascinating tweet after the game. Tom Kelly said he thinks Zach Wheeler is the best Philly this century. So you start rattling through your head, Jimmy, Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, Cole Hamels, Bryce Harper. I don't think anyone would say Tomey, Roland Abreu, no way. But like you're talking about the main 4 from 2008 in that group. Roy Halladay obviously had a great run there for a little bit. It was not that long, but it was amazing while it lasted. And then Harper. And TK's like, you know what? Stop the presses, everybody. Zach Wheeler's the best of all of them. So I don't know if that's true or not. It's actually interesting to think about. What we know is this. He's amazing. He showed it again yesterday, and we'll continue to celebrate having Zach Wheeler as a Philly because he continues to be as dependable as there's been in Philly sports in a long time. Those are the 2 positives. The big negative,
dependable,
John,
but then a coach on top of that.
In what sense?
Well, can self-moderate, sort of. Like fix himself.
Well, how about the fact he wants to retire in 2 years? I mean, we really haven't talked too much about that as a show.
Can it?
John, his quotes from 2 weeks ago were, Seltzer, could you be more crystal clear than he was 2 weeks ago?
No. He made it very clear. He's like, I don't care what you say to me. I don't care what anyone says. He's like, I am done.
In 2 years.
Yep.
Yeah, and after, 2 more years after this. So, yeah, that's okay. But the big negative from yesterday was Bryce Harper's comments prior to the game about his injury situation with the wrist. Let's just start with how he started, talking publicly about the fact he was about to play in a game. And while it was exciting as hell to know he was about to play in a game, it was incredibly discouraging the way he framed at least some of this. Listen to something Bryce said a little bit before game time yesterday.
I didn't think I was going to take any other steps forward of feeling better or anything like that. I thought we were kind of at a standstill of it feeling the same the last couple of days, and from BP to live and things like that kind of gave us the same result each day. So I thought today was a good one.
John, with half a season to go this year and 6 years to go on his contract after this one, and knowing that he was coming, normally when a player comes back, it's, I'm back and I'm good. John, that is not what we heard from Bryce. How concerning is that for you? And again, we'll pose this to everyone at 215-592-9494. John, what's your reaction to what you heard Bryce say?
Yeah, that's not great. I mean, this is now manage the chronic condition. This now becomes a lot more football-esque in the way he has to approach this, and that's not fun. That's not easy. It makes everything feel like you're investing twice as much, 3 times as much of your emotion and time. It all adds up. This is going to be rough for Bryce Harper, this season, and then hopefully he can get it fixed when it's all said and done after the season, because we know that this has been going on for quite a while.
Or it's just what it is the rest of the way. I remember Donovan McNabb, after he tore his knee in 2006, he came back and in 2007 referenced, it's funny because Doug Peterson said the new norm, but I think Donovan's term was like the new 100%, meaning like I'm healthy, but I'm never going to be as spry as I used to be. And we've seen it with a number of, because let's be real, Donovan 07, 08, 09.
That's really interesting.
Yeah,
the new 100%.
The new 100%.
Well, that was my first thought. When I heard Bryce yesterday, when I heard this interview, my first thought, the first thing that hit me was we've seen the best of Bryce Harper. Like that, and it sucks. Yeah. And I think there can be
tremendous blow
moments, and there can be stretches, like, and you hope in the playoffs he can turn it on the way he has in the past. But like 500 home runs, that was something we hoped for. All this stuff, it's just like what I hoped was the second half of Harper's career. Like, I have to change my perspective on it.
Yeah, I mean, James,
I don't know.
I tend to agree with you. I don't know either, John, but I tend to agree with him. I mean, I'll go back to this.
I don't tend to agree
2020,
with that. Like, I don't know for sure, but that's just how I feel. 2021, just for point of reference, 2021, Bryce played 141 games, which, by the way, is the second most he's played, or third most he's played with the Phillies, but 141 that year. Now, that year, he hit .309 with a .429 on-base percentage and a .615 slugging percentage. They're getting nowhere near that player anymore. So, I mean, I got to tell you, I find his comments incredibly concerning. And if you really drill down, because I wrote down line by line some of the notable things that he said. Now think about this here. He said, I didn't think I was going to take any other steps forward of feeling better. Mm-hmm. So he's telling you he plateaued, at least within, John.
So I appreciate that he's pushing through.
No, I do too. No, I totally agree with that.
It's just how much does this hamper you? The pain in your wrist, how much does it affect the swing itself? How much does it just affect whether he swings or not?
And that's if it stays the same. Then there's what if it gets worse, which it has before.
Yeah,
it did last year and it did earlier this year.
But on the positive side with this, like, you do get better at dealing with your body's wonkiness the more you deal with it. These injuries that are chronic, you do get a feel for what works better. Okay, this week maybe I'll back off on some of the dairy in my diet, and that affects the inflammation levels in my wrist.
But it's also why so often in sports, other than like gymnasts who peaks at like 18, it's why the 28-year-old is better than the 33-year-old. It's just, let alone 35, 37, 39. Where's contracts going? I mean, look, it's funny because I mentioned earlier, James, I saw you react when I brought up TK's thing about Zach Wheeler, and it is thought-provoking. Maybe Wheeler's the best this century.
He certainly might be.
He really might be.
It's not a crazy thing to say,
but here's
nothing else.
But, James, I agree with you. Here's what I'll say. Prior to Tom Kelly tweeting that yesterday, I felt pretty confident that Bryce Harper was the best this century.
Me too.
I have said in a number of times in the last 2 to 3 years, Bryce Harper plays at a higher level. Now, not that like Ryan Howard played in 06 when he had 58 homers, but for the duration of Ryan Howard's career, and Chase, and Jimmy, and Cole, okay, and obviously Roy Halladay was only, I think, 3 or 4 years here. 2 were great, and then he just tailed off. Like, I can tell you, I felt really confident to say Bryce Harper is the best. Now, this is a big statement because Mike Schmidt was about 35 years ago now. And by the way, about 50 years since Schmidt started. And Schmidt was about 50 years ago to about 35 years ago. And I've said a number of times in the last year or two, and Ruben Amaro will join us at 7, and I think he has said the same thing. Bryce Harper is the best Philly I've seen other than, since Mike Schmidt. And now it's like, might not have that guy anymore. Might have 80% of them, might have 70% of them, might have 90%. I don't know, but it's been a hell of an advantage. We see the advantage a guy like Zach Wheeler makes. We saw it again last night. We've seen the advantage Bryce Harper gives you, except if he can't do that anymore. So, look, we'll take your reaction. He said more than just that yesterday. We'll get to the other audio of notable things he said, because he did say he's feeling better than he was 3 or 4 weeks ago, which is good, but it's a concern, man. Look, we'll take your phone calls, 215-592-9494 on Bryce back, which is good. Wheeler amazing, which is awesome. Bryce saying what he said, which is not good. Me versus Jack, NBA free agency. I'm curious on the WNBA, where you stand on that. We got a Twitter poll. We'll dial up coming up next about that.